So at this stage, people have progressed their careers, they've probably got more business interests, a lot more assets, which would then affect any divorce settlement in a relationship breakdown.
When parties are in their 40s, the children usually tend to be a little bit older, and so the breakdown of the marriage may have a slightly different impact on them, maybe considering retirement within a reasonable period. So it started to make provision for that, which is then interrupted by the difficulties in the marriage, and so they're having to rethink quite a lot about their future and any plans they may have made.
So you come and see us because you can't resolve it yourself. You might need advice as to what's fair. People don't know what they're entitled to. So quite often they come in for the information. What should we be doing? What would be a typical settlement in our case? And you tell them. You start at equality. You start at a 50-50 split. And only if there's good reason do you move away from that. Men have argued, we're worth 100 million because I'm a fantastic entrepreneur. And the judges have said, no, her contribution as a homemaker and a mother is worth the same as your contribution for the money. You have to be a stellar performer to get more than 50% in that kind of situation. This is why you need a lawyer, because if you've built everything together, you both got married at you were 18, you had nothing, and you've built your fashion empire together or whatever, then 20 years later, you're going to take 50-50. There's not much doubt about that. There's no mathematical formula for the clients, for the husband and wife. That's the dreadful thing about it, because they can't calculate it.
Quite often we see people in their 40s who are then looking to review their wills because their circumstances have changed, and quite often when people are getting divorced they want to immediately cut the spouse that they're divorcing out of the will, although that can be a little bit more convoluted due to various rights to make claims under an estate. And there can be competing interests between making sure that all the children are treated fairly within their estates.
So we've recently had a case where a sole owner of a business, the sole director, has passed away without a will, and unfortunately that meant that there wasn't an executor that was able to step in and start acting in the best interest of the company until we've received the grant of probate. And at the moment there's quite significant delays with the probate registry, so we're in this unfortunate circumstance where there's no executor because there's no will, and there's also no director because he was the sole director of the company. And so the business is struggling at the moment because we're unable to make any decisions in regards to it.
We do quite often get people coming in to see us when they're in their 40s asking about powers of attorney for their parents. Now, a power of attorney is generally a document that appoints or enables somebody to act on their behalf in relation to either their property and financial affairs or for their health and welfare matters.
This is also the age where people start buying second properties for investments, or businesses such as holiday lets will help and assist you and guide you through the process of making everything catch up with each other, so you can drop off the keys for the old one and pick the new keys up on the same day.
There is an increasing legislative burden on landlords. You need to do XYZ paperwork before you can start a tenancy, and there are certain maintenance obligations that you have to comply with during the tenancy. If you are opting to manage it yourself, then there is a potential minefield, and you need to know what you're stepping into before you step into it. In an ideal world, you will have a dream tenant who pays their rent on time. That is not always the case. You want a legal advisor in situations where things go wrong. So you may well find yourself with a tenant who you've served notice and they haven't left the property. You may well find yourself with a problem tenant who's causing nuisance to neighbours, and you want to know what to do. Your letting agents will help you to a degree, but ultimately they have a limit as to how much they can help you, and there may well be a time when you need proper action to go to courts to solve these issues.